What's going on, everybody? This is Afro Think Tank. Nigeria just made a wonderful deal with Turkey for cooperation with counterterrorism and other economic bilateral agreements. This is amazing. And I just have to say, you know, I understand that there are a lot of people who do not agree with how Tinubu won the election. I understand a lot of people are frustrated in Nigeria, about how the gas subsidies were taken away and how gas prices went up and how they feel things are happening in Nigeria. I understand all of that, right? As a person who's been in Nigeria doing business, I have been affected by the subsidies. I've been affected by the policies being made in Nigeria. Therefore, I feel like I have the ability to talk about it. And I have to say, despite what people believe about Tinubu, despite what people know about Tinubu, Tinubu is doing an excellent job on the international scale, putting Nigeria in a position for the future. That's an undeniable fact. Now, of course, there are many challenges Nigeria has, right? Insecurity, infrastructure, and things like that. But all of those things that that's required needs money. Okay, and as rich as Nigeria is, just like any other country, no country can do anything on their own. There are things that Nigeria needs to be put in place in order to take advantage of the resources that they have. Meaning they need to make deals with other countries to gain some of the intellectual properties and intellectual knowledge and know-hows in order to incorporate that within Nigeria. The first thing that needs to happen is security in the north. Now, I want to qualify this. A lot of people harp on Nigeria and the insecurity in the north, and they look at that as a failure of Nigeria. But understand, if that's the case, we have to say that most countries are failures because they just made a deal with Turkey. Turkey's also dealing with insurrection and insecurity within their borders. As you can look at Europe, Europe is dealing with massive insecurity within many of their borders, as they have a raging war that's killing thousands upon thousands of people daily, tens of thousands of people weekly, millions of people monthly, equivalent, if not more, than what's happening in Sudan. Okay? So we got to understand that there are many countries that's dealing with insecurity. America itself deals with internal insecurity, as our murder rate is higher than any death that happens in Nigeria. Despite how Nigeria is highlighted in the insecurity in the north, more people die of gun violence in America in a year than probably 2, 3, 4, 5 years in Nigeria. America is much more of a dangerous place. But it's the perception that we have of Nigeria as being an unstable country. Understand, Nigeria, just like any other country, is going to have problems, especially when they don't have the technology to deal with those problems. And the technology necessary requires money and requires expertise, which Tinubu is out here grabbing left and right. You see, Tinubu's government understands that if it's to be a giant, it needs to stand on its own 2 feet, and it can't rely on the other giants to build it. No other giant is going to uplift another giant. The job of a giant is to hold down others so they don't become giants, because they don't want to compete. It's a dog-eat-dog world. And I know a lot of people wish that Nigeria would do the same thing that the AES has done, but you got to understand those economies are dealing with a different type of colonizer. They're dealing with France, the last neo-colonialists. And these countries are smaller and they have less resources available to them at the moment. So they have coalesced themselves to become a massive powerhouse in order to dislodge European powers. They had to do these people-powered coups in order to unify, to build themselves up. They had to take a different route to liberation. Nigeria itself cannot take the same route as AES, even though everybody would like for Nigeria to take that same step. But Nigeria is too big, too massive, and too complicated, too many different groups of people for them to be able to do what they did. Nigeria is taking another route. And Tinubu, as tactical as he can be, right, as imperfect as he is, right, he is doing everything he can to secure the security of Nigeria. That's number one, right? To secure the north, to get the drone technology. Nigeria is already building their own domestic drones so they can have eyes on the sky. Nigeria is making deals to add extra satellites to the sky so we can have eyes on the sky the same way white Western powers have eyes on the sky. Nigeria is doing everything that it can on the international scale to make bilateral deals with other countries to take away white Western powers from sanctioning it. You see, Europeans use sanctioning powers to keep Nigeria down, just like they use sanctioning powers to keep other African countries down, just like they use sanctioning powers to keep Haiti and Cuba down. So what Nigeria is doing is making deals that have nothing to do with America, while also making deals with America, because you must understand, every time I post videos about Nigeria and America making deals, you got to understand this is not recolonization. This is a realignment of deals. Nigeria is going to have to do business with America. America is going to have to do deals with Nigeria. Have to, because there are things that each power needs. So now what Nigeria is doing is saying to America, listen, we now have resources and we have access to our resources, and we're not just giving up our resources for nothing. You're going to have to give us something. You see, America is not like China. America can't come in and build a city in 5 days. America doesn't have that construction capacity. But what America has the ability to sell and give military intellectual properties to Nigeria in order for them to fight against the terrorist organizations that are plaguing the North. So now the relationship of America and Nigeria are changing because America sees the win. America knows Nigeria is currently standing up. There is nothing America can do to stop Nigeria standing up. America will never go to war with Nigeria. Do you understand why? Because the diaspora in America is too large for this small minority of Europeans to try to go to war with Nigeria, because the military is filled with a bunch of Africans and Nigerians. It would not work out logistically for them. It's not a smart move. They wouldn't do it because they would not have the support of the public. It would barely have the support of the entire military. It's just not a good look. The only thing America can do strategically is change its posture and not be so predatory and have more of a fair dealings with Nigeria. That's currently what's happening right now. So now America has to pay up. America has to do what it says it's going to do and not delay goods that are being purchased by Nigeria. And as a result, Nigerians have been defeating those Arab savages in the north. There have been story after story of successful missions, as right now Nigeria is on an offensive right now in the north, taking down those Arabs who are disturbing the people of the north. That's what's happening. That's truly happening, because the military only needs supplies. They need bullets. They need guns. They need ammunition. All countries need these to fight their wars. Even first world nations like Israel don't have the weapons or the capacity to fight to conduct their genocide if America doesn't give them the ammunition to do so. As rich as Israel is. So if they can't do it, you can't expect Africans who are just now coming out of neocolonialism and putting themselves together. You can't expect them to be able to just have everything they need to secure themselves. But they're doing it. And the good thing is, I do talk a lot about how there are a lot of politicians who are corrupt, but not all Nigerian politicians are corrupt. There are some old geezers who actually care about Nigeria, and they're doing their best to take Nigeria to where it belongs. And I truly believe the things that are happening now and the moves Tinubu are making is going to give the future of Nigeria, is going to give Nigeria a great future. I understand the austerity of the subsidies with the gas. That was always going to hurt. But understand the subsidies, the cheap gas that used to come in Nigeria, that was hurting Nigeria because they weren't making any money. They had to unsubsidize the gas, even though it hurt me. It hurt my business. It hurt many people because gas became unaffordable. And clearly, there's not a lot of jobs. But what came first, the chicken or the egg? You can only do one thing at a time, right? You have to secure your country. You have to make deals so that you can bring money and investment into the country so that when you start massive infrastructure projects, you can actually pay for it. If you ain't got no money to do it, you can't do it. If you want to take advantage of the gases and the minerals and the resources out of your country, you need to have somebody be able to bring in the factory and bring in the expertise to extract that and to process that. That takes cooperation with other countries. And the good thing is Nigeria is positioning itself the way it's doing business with other countries bilaterally, to make it so it doesn't matter what America says. It doesn't matter if America threatens Nigeria with sanctions. It's not going to work anymore. Now, the West no longer has the power to press down Nigeria anymore because there's so many deals being made. So with that being said, I'm going to put some information here. You're going to see a report, and you're going to learn what the Nigerians are saying. And I'm just, hey, listen, I don't know what's going to happen in the next election. Now, if Tinubu somehow loses, right, I hope the next person continues on with what he's doing, at least on the international scale. And maybe that person can speed it up, or maybe Tinubu will be empowered by being elected again, and he'll step it up. But anyway, despite what you see, Nigeria is headed in the right direction. It's going to take some time. People are going to be frustrated because everybody wants things to happen now, but in the real world, it doesn't happen that way. It takes time, and things are very complicated. So I just want to commend the Nigerian government for really doing what they got to do. I think they understand now, right? This is the time of the black man. This is time for black nations to stand up, heads of state to stand proud and take their position in the world. And Tinubu is doing just that. Despite all the imperfections of him, despite other things that he could be doing well, he is leading Nigeria in the right direction. Anyway, that's all I got to say. Tell me what you guys think in the comment sections. Afro Think Tank, learn something, teach something. I'm out.
All right, if you just joined us, still Journalist Hangout. I still have Dr. Oladipo right here, and Tunde Abaton is also right here with us. Now, straight to our third conversation. Global partnerships are often measured in shared objectives. It is against this backdrop that Nigeria and Turkey have stepped up cooperation, reaffirming a drive to deepen economic and security ties. During President Bola Tinubu's state visit to Turkey, President Recep Tayyip Erdogan said his country is targeting a $5 billion annual trade volume with Nigeria, up from current levels. President Erdogan also noted that President Tinubu's visit is the clearest indication of the determination to attract investment to the country. All right, Nigeria and Turkey, President Erdogan has set an ambitious goal, to grow bilateral trade with Nigeria from currently, which was 2 billion, up to 5 billion. But talk to me, what does this mean for Nigeria?
It means we're getting people, more countries to trust us that they can do business with us. Basically, that's what it means. Because at some point, for every country, when you measure the level of trade, it was going down. That's number one. Number two, it was skewed against us. Because we really didn't even have what to offer. We were not manufacturing.
Okay.
We didn't even have so much capacity to produce and offer certain goods with value addition. Now, gradually, we are getting there. And I'm always a believer that the head of any institution is a political appointee who should play the politics of running that institution, including Nigeria, seeing Nigeria as an institution.
Okay.
I've had certain conversations about the president traveling too much. Wasting resources to stay outside the country. Yes, there are some we can come here to debate. For instance, we are getting to a point when we need to have medical facilities up to date so that we don't need to send our officials out. Let the president, like I always describe them, the president and vice president, be our brand to the world.
We're still going to get to that conversation.
Let them go and sell us to the outside world. Because countries deal with those they trust.
Okay.
Not as a general entity, but the people who make up those who head those institutions. They must trust them. They must have confidence in them. They must know that what they have said, they are going to do. And you will see that the way it started with this administration was very rough. But that was a message the world had been passing to us, or the messages that had been passed to us a long time ago. Remove subsidy on certain things so that we can do business with you. You can free resources so that when we bring in the money, we're able to repatriate it. So when a country like Turkey find out the US, the UK, all those big countries, they produce a lot of their goods in Turkey. Shirts, shoes, and all the rest.
And
they
Turkey is
them
located in a very, very strategic area.
Yes. People from Nigeria,
Asia.
Even before the US, under Donald Trump, said it was going to limit access, they were already going to Turkey to do business. They were going to China to do business.
Okay.
Because things made more sense
all right.
in those places.
All right, Tunde, let's talk about timing now. Well, why do you think it is the right time for Turkey to say we are scaling up from $2 billion investment, to $5 billion? We must be doing something right. Why do you think this is the right time to do?
There's a time and season for everything under the sun. And it is a clear sign and signal that the international community, they are beginning to have confidence and build trust in what we promise that we are going to do. Like Dr. said, when the present government came in, they said they removed subsidy, they liberalized trade, the foreign exchange, people can get foreign exchange. So that let us interact with your leaders and see whether what they promise is really there. And let us remember that in the last 1.5 years, a lot of international partners have been coming here promising to bring one investment or the other. So I think as the president or vice president or anybody, they are the chief image maker, chief marketer of Nigeria.
Exactly.
And they should go out and tell the international community, besides the promises, this is what we have, this is what we can do. Instead of having a president that will just sit down somewhere and ministers will just build a ring around him. They won't make him pass around him. So let him go out. And now, there was a time Professor Bola said something about the fact that the African countries need to build and some other countries, third world countries, a concert of medium powers. Concert of medium powers, which means we are not going to absolutely rely on America and Britain to call the shots all the time. And now the world is a global village. So you are free to interact with others that can increase your propensity to market yourself and do things better. So for the president to go to Turkey, a country like that, it means that we are opening ourselves up. We are telling people that we are not what we used to be probably 8 or 10 years ago. We are ready for business. We want to do things. When you bring your business here, when you make your money, you will repatriate your money back. Remember that as at the time the man took over, about $770 million, airlines could not repatriate the money they made. But with the liberalization, with the policy of the central bank, they were able to, within 3 months, they cleared that backlog. It means Nigeria is telling the international community or any other person that came to do business that we are ready to do things the normal way international community is going to do it. So you need to re-emphasize that, and you need to open yourself to the international community that we are ready. And not necessarily our traditional trading partners. We have to cultivate new friends. For you to be able to do things where you don't have to rely on others without necessarily getting in America and Britain. You have to cultivate new friends that will help you, open you up for business.
All right, gentlemen. Nigeria and Turkey signed 9 cooperation agreements and memorandum of understanding, covering a broad range of areas. But if you look at it, which sectors are expected to drive the biggest gains? Is it defense? Is it in the area of
education? All of them. Because we have needs that we can meet for those people, and they have needs they can help us to meet. Because I was going to go there, that the major thing the president needs to do now is to ensure that all his aides, especially the ministers, should follow up on all these MOUs.
Implement.
Now,
Really key.
there's one big area that is leaking, which we have always been talking about and looking at. Still, look at Ajaokuta now. Over a period of time, we've gone to Russia, we've gone to China, we've signed MOUs and all the rest. But we are not seeing any movement. We are not feeling anything. And I think the president will need to come back to the kind of headmaster-like situation he ran in Lagos. Let's publish what these people are doing on a monthly basis. If we can't do it on a monthly basis, let's make it quarterly. Our ministers should not be operating in the dark. They should give us the deliverables, especially on these MOUs we go and sign. That is why you see that countries will rather talk to your president than to your ministers.
But you remember that the president, the ambassadors,
yes,
they're about to be,
this our trade has nothing to do with those guys.
No, the ambassadors will be our face there.
They'll be our face, but don't forget that the implementation rests on the ministers at home. At home. So they are the ones we need
to make sure
to hold responsible. There is an office that is headed by Adiza Balamo
to monitor all the ministers.
Tell us what these people are doing. Sometimes we hear snippets, but we need to see. Because a lot of people, when we get to rating ministers, we want to rate them based on the number of bridges that they built. No, that is not consolidating on institutions. We must build the foundation in a way that nothing can shake it again. Yes, we need all the roads, we need all of this, but something must sustain it.
Yes.
We shouldn't keep borrowing to fund certain things after a while. If we're able to meet, for instance, our cement production, it means we can do roads with cement without spending too much. If we have enough steel, we can reduce the cost of, that's if we produce here. These are the things that we should be looking at and be taking. This MOU we signed with China, how far, Mr. Minister? If he's unable to deliver on it, then we need to leave that person. Minister of Defense, the Defense Corporation of Nigeria, the icon is supposed to be working by now. This was the projection that within a frame of 6 months or 1 year, you are going to be able to produce this caliber of arms and ammunition. You are unable to meet it. Can you step aside?
I mean, follow-up is very, very necessary. But what do you think we should be doing to ensure that proper follow-up is done so that we can get, start reaping the gains?
The thing is that besides the fact that the president had a special advisor monitoring all the deliverables from the ministry, we also need them to be giving us quarterly report card. Report card of what you have done in your ministry. Vis-a-vis what the government intends to do. Vis-a-vis all the MOU have been signed. He mentioned that they are good still, but we have to say that probably with this government there will be a difference. But you and I know that in the last 65 years, Ajaokuta has proved the biggest abiku we have in this country. It's an abiku area in this country. The thing keep on dying. The federal government keep on spending money on it, and yet you have nothing to show for it. So for the government to show the people what they have done, there has to be a periodical report card published on what they mean. For instance, in the last 2 years, they now publish the revenue given to local governments and states.
Exactly.
Let the states begin to ask their governors, because it is not about president alone. I always tell people,
it's about the subnational.
We need to ask their governors. Abeokuta local government, you collected 600 million naira in December. What did you use to do it?
It's not about. Sent me one on Abia State. What they got, the local governments got in December, and said, you people of Abia, go and start asking your local government chairman what they did with this money.
I always tell people that most of the NGOs we have in Nigeria, we are just being lazy. are not being practical.
They're not doing what they're
supposed to do. Each of the 36 states in Nigeria has the capacity to have NGOs.
Free Sudan! Boycott diamonds and gold! Free Sudan! Boycott diamonds and gold! We most definitely cannot forget about the people of Sudan.
Thanks for watching Afro Think Tank. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And follow me on Substack and Patreon for more content. Remember, it's Pan-Africanism or nothing.